enemy came up against your business, you will win. Oh, you will win. Yes, you will.
Hello, everyone. This is Jerica J. Red Brumfield, host of All Things Web Show. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I am so excited and happy that you all are with us. If this is your first time, All Things Web Show is a realm for restoration, education, encouragement, laughter, and motivation. And so, with that being said, I would like you all to just comment, subscribe to this realm. And if you are watching the replay, just hashtag replay in the comments. We want to know that you are watching with us. All right. And I am excited to bring up coach expert, Mr. Bryan Thomas, which is coming to this stage. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing tonight?
I'm well on yourself.
I am doing pretty good. Can't complain. I cannot complain. If you could to tell us who you are, where you come from, what you do. Some people out there may not know you. So can you just introduce yourself to us?
Perfect. Well, for those that are seeing me for the first time, my name is Coach Bryan Thomas. I'm a relationship coach, life coach, dating coach, future matchmaker, and just here to make anything relationships and bringing your life together in the best way possible by using your purpose, understanding, and most of all, balance to bring you to the best places that you can go within your life. And I'm just here to just introduce, as many people as I can to maybe a different way of processing, but to see if their life can be better after we've had a conversation.
Awesome. And we looking forward to having some better lives, after this conversation. And so that is our goal on tonight. And I see and heard that you are a matchmaker. So if y'all need somebody, make sure y'all go to Brian. He can hook y'all up with somebody. I'm pretty sure we have multiple singles and people that will be watching that are singles that's gonna need your help. I feel like I'm a matchmaker too, but I'm not, you know. I'm
Right,
just
I
gonna,
understand.
not I'm not gonna go there. And so that is a question I do want to ask. I'm just gonna start off because you are a matchmaker.
Hmm.
We see a lot of people that are single nowadays, and a lot of people that it seemed like I did a show on yesterday, the
Hmm.
newlywed game, and it was so hard to find newlyweds. And why do you think that people are not really getting married
Well, one of the
right
reasons that
now?
people, well, one of the reasons I believe that people are not getting married is because there is a huge gap in the true understanding of what marriage means. A lot of times, the engagement and the wedding is glamorized, but no one really sits down and lets them know, hey, once you have said I do, there's a whole learning curve that you haven't really grasped until you've actually been married. And those that are married and a little bit older may not necessarily know how to tell the younger ones or the newlyweds um, just the just the adjustment that has to be made. And so a lot of individuals are not really ready for that adjustment that you're making once you say I do, because it's going from one thing, from being in the relationship where at any particular point in time you could walk away to now legally you are in covenant with that individual. And so now you have to really see beyond just what you do on an everyday basis for you. Now you're having to do things through the lens of not only you, but you have to trust the lens of another person. And sometimes that takes, you know, a nice amount of time. It really getting married, I really say the first 3 to 5 years is definitely an adjustment period. But a lot of individuals, once they start to realize that they're not necessarily ready for that adjustment period, they don't want to do it anymore. Or they find out that the person that they are connecting with may not be the best person for them long term. And so something eventually ends up happening that opens their eyes to the possibility that this is not the best person for me. And so they start moving in a different direction.
So are you saying it takes 3 to 5 years to figure out if they are going to be together, or are you saying this after they get married, 3 to 5 years, and they feel like okay, now this is not the person? What are you saying about those 5 years?
So that 3 to 5 year period is the adjustment that you basically are going to go through to really adjust to having another individual with you. Now, within that, usually within that 3 to 5 year period, that's where you start to see where either marriages begin to take off or marriages begin to fall apart. It's usually within that first 3.5, really 5 year period that you start to see who's actually understanding what it takes to actually maintain what married life is all about. And then you start to see also in that time frame who's having a difficult time adjusting. They usually say studies show that the first 5 years of everyone's marriage usually will tell the story of whether they'll be able to move forward or whether they'll be able to kind of just maybe go their separate ways, because majority of marriages now are not lasting 10, 15, 20 years. A lot of them are lasting between a year and 5 years. So that 3 to 5 year period really helps you get adjusted to life with that individual, helps you get adjusted to the mannerisms of that individual, helps you get adjusted to the different things, the expectations that you might have had that now have to change and adjust, and the patience that it takes, because you're literally growing with another individual while having to manage your own growth. And sometimes you can get so lost in trying to grow with someone that you forget about yourself. So that time frame
Yeah.
is really an adjustment period that you go through to really understand how that person is growing, how you can contribute to that, but also making sure that you don't forget about yourself.
Right. Two worlds definitely coming together.
Yeah.
So when we talk about relationships, we know that it's such a big topic. We have
Mhm.
relationships with parents, relationships, romantic relationships. We have, just friendships. And so, in your terms, what is relationship to you?
Relationship is it's two people relating to each other on the ship that we call life. So each of us are going through life, and when we're in a relationship, that's simply two individuals sharing their lives with each other, whether it's through family, whether it's through romantic, whether it's through friendship, whether it's through work. It's bringing in another individual to invite and to expose them to the life that you live, to expose them to your ups, your downs, conversation, communication, sharing memories. A relationship is simply two people sharing and exchanging life, time, moments with.
Okay. And so, one question:
Mhm.
do you think our relationship or lack of relationship with our parents affect our relationship with others? Why or why not? Or we could say, can one truly be successful or have a successful relationship with someone if they don't have a successful relationship with their parents?
Well, the parents' relationship is very, very important, because parent is where you learn the dynamics of what a relationship means to you. Many men who have dysfunctional relationship with ladies can either point back to a dysfunction with their mother or having a disconnect in the way that the mother may communicate or discipline. And with ladies, you can point back to the dysfunction that they may accept to their own relationship with their father. So parental relationship is very, very important, because it allows the building of an understanding of what a relationship really means outside of just the parental relationship. Now, does that necessarily mean if you don't have a good relationship with your mother or your father, that you can't have a successful relationship? No, that doesn't mean, because ideally you want there to be some camaraderie between you and the parents, but there's sometimes where you don't necessarily connect, because sometimes I believe that with parents, especially the older generation of parents, the way that they may have kind of conveyed it doesn't necessarily go over well with some of the current generation. So many of them, the parents, they're having to kind of catch up to the different trends that are going on because things were different there. But I think that even a successful relationship with your parents does not necessarily lead to a successful relationship with other people, because it's a matter of what you actually take from those parental relationships and what you emphasize in the relationship with other people. Um, but it is definitely possible for you to have a quality relationship with people by simply being aware, paying attention, and exhibiting kindness and quality to the communication and conversations that you have. Because there are a lot of individuals that came from great parents, but they are terrible
Yeah.
communicators. The parents did a wonderful job of
Yeah.
providing for them, the things that they needed, but the parents did not necessarily emphasize communication. And so, even though they had good parents that took care of them as far as a provision aspect, the communication aspect, that's a whole different thought process that takes time and practice and understanding and comprehension. And I believe that your level of comprehension of what a relationship is will determine how you handle every other relationship that comes forward.
Mm. Your level of comprehension
Yeah.
will determine. I believe, yeah, that to be. I believe that to be true. And so, if you could to tell us what actually defines a successful relationship,
From a parental,
and
romantic, any one of
well,
them.
success. Any, you can pick any one of them. We just have a question says what actually defines a successful relationship, and is successful relationships designed by time or depth? So you
Um,
could just pick.
so when we're looking at as far as like relationships are not bound by time. Time is simply just a currency that you use to um time is simply a currency to identify when a relationship may have started or as it has continued. But what defines a successful relationship is the ability for that particular person to have a continual evolvement in a positive direction, having the understanding of the accountability. Because in a lot of great relationships, there is a level of accountability where that individual is looking at the other individual and they're holding him to a standard of excellence. So there's a standard of excellence in any great relationship, as far as the communication, as far as the understanding, as far as the keeping of information that is relative to protecting them. I believe a lot of times relationship, there's a level of protection, not protecting them from the consequences of if they do something wrong, but necessarily like protecting them from having any individual try to come in and separate what, how can I say it? Having any individual try to come in and separate them from being around individuals that are not in their best interest. And so when we're looking at relationships should evolve to where the individual that is with you, they should continue to grow. Meaning that when you're around them, you're inspired by what they do around you to become better. You're not inspired to stay in the same place. You're not inspired to play the blame game, but you're inspired to, okay, I want to be better at being accountable for the things
Right.
that I do. I want to be better at, being the best version of who I am. A great relationship means that if I'm getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing this particular thing, you are the one that says, okay, you've been getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Why are you stopping now? Or if they're constantly doing something that's bringing them to a place of mediocrity, great relationship says, hey, you know what? The standard of what you're accepting in this point in time in your life is not what you and I are used to. So how do we
Mm-hmm.
push this mediocrity to the side and go after the greatness
Yeah.
that we have established that we want to have, not only in our relationship, but in our life?
Yes. You just hit on something that I was talking to someone yesterday about. It's doing lower than what, because I'm a person that if I see you could do better, I'm going to tell you that you could do better. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to allow you to accept less,
Mm-hmm.
than what you could do. And some people don't like that though.
This is true.
Some people don't like that. And I come to realize that they don't want to be told that they can do better. They say, well, you said in this particular tone, that ain't love. And I'm like, well, I got to tell you and push you past the level that you're at into a greater level because I know that's where you can be at. If I'm
Right.
saying it soft, then you may not get it.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I have a question.
Sure.
All right, another question.
Mm-hmm.
So, growing up in a toxic environment, never being taught about healthy relationships,
Mm-hmm.
what are steps and ways to get to a healthy, relationship if a person never seen that before?
Well, when you grow up in a toxic environment, the first thing is to identify what are the toxic traits that have become a part of the lens of your mind. A lot of the things that we do are subconsciously things that we have accepted. And a lot of times, um, when we have things happen in life, we have what we call subconscious reflexes. Now, subconscious reflexes are a series of movements, actions, motions that determine what we value. And so, what you have to go and find out are what are the subconscious things that I have accepted as truth that are toxic.
Mm,
Because a lot of times what ends up happening is when we have toxic within our subconscious, we can see something good, but something that seems to be good will be difficult. And so because it seems to be difficult, then we're having a fight between something that appears to be healthy for us, but then something that we are used to. So when you're having someone that's dealing with a toxic thought process that they've been born into or they have inherited, what they have to do is they have to be around somebody that identifies what those toxic traits are. And when they identify what those toxic traits are, they have to understand, okay, what's the origin behind why I believe this, or what's the origin behind why I do this, or what's the reason behind why. A lot of times people don't change, not because they don't want to change, but because they don't understand the origin of where they come from. When you understand the origin of where you come from, then you can correct the behavior that you are doing. So when someone is coming in from a toxic thought process, they have to be around somebody that's better. That's number one. Number two, they have to identify and acknowledge the toxic behavior that they have accepted. And number three, they must be around someone that holds them accountable to a higher standard that goes against what they've been used to.
Key word tonight I'm hearing is accountability.
Mm-hmm.
One of the key words, accountability, is very, very important. And what are some toxic traits that people have that you have seen or run across? Because some people
Um,
don't feel like they toxic because they are blind to the fact, So, what are some that you have seen or that you can kind of pinpoint?
Well, one of the toxic traits that I see with many individuals is argumentative, inability to handle conflict. So when we're dealing with like any type of conflict, any type of clash, I break those down into three different areas. Break them down into conflict, confrontation, and arguments. Okay, so conflict is just a different way of thinking. You're thinking differently and it's coming together. It's like you are clashing with someone in their way of thinking. You have confrontation, which means that you have to confront or you have to um, deal with something that's becoming a barrier. When we're dealing with an argument is basically it's a contest to see who wins. There's a lot of individuals, toxic trait is being argumentative, meaning that I've got to get my point across. I've got to be heard. I've got to be the one that's the center of attention. Another thing that is definitely a toxic trait, and it kind of coincides with a lack of accountability. It's a lack of consistency. Um, being an individual that keeps up with what you say and doing it, and not making excuses. Another toxic trait that I see, especially in the dating world, are individuals who are selfish. Selfishness is one of the most toxic traits because one of the things that I see in dating and relationships is you have people that make decisions for themselves, but they want another individual to participate in a dysfunction that they value. So it's a lot of individuals that step into relationships for a lot of selfish reasons because they have
Can you
a
explain?
toxic. Okay, so for example, now I'm probably gonna get in trouble here. I'm probably gonna get in trouble here, but that's
Uh,
okay. There are a lot of men who have not trained their eyes in relationships. And so what they do is they get into a relationship with what they consider to be a pretty young lady, but they don't invest in her. They're just with her because she's pretty. And then you have many young ladies that are in relationships with a man who is financially stable, but they don't offer anything else but just being in a relationship with him. They like having a relationship with him simply because of the standard that he set financially, but they don't bring anything else as far as adding value into his life other than just being in a relationship with him.
so how would that be selfish if a man is being with someone only for their looks?
It's selfish because if you're just with someone simply because their look, even in the Bible, we talk about what vanity is. That's a sign of vanity. And so when you're with someone simply because how they look, that means that you're not really looking to invest in them. They're really just, it's really investing what you like. But with every investing into something, you've got to be able to maintain whatever you're investing in. So you may get with a particular young lady that may be pretty, but you got to invest time, you got to invest understanding, you have to invest listening, you have to invest, okay, what is it that she really needs? Is she dealing with low self-esteem and I'm the person that is causing her not to pay attention to that self-esteem? Because there are a lot of beautiful women that have heard that they're beautiful, and the guys come in and they're with them because they're beautiful, but they don't bring anything else to their world other than just compliments. And there comes a point in time where the compliments are cool, but you have to bring into her life something that aspires for her to want to be better for you.
Okay, from your perspective, question: how can a woman be an asset to uh, a man?
So, how a woman can be an asset to a man. And I actually got this question last night from a friend of mine. How a woman can be an asset to a man is simply evolving. That's it. Simply evolving. Because here's the thing that I'm starting to like really understand. A lot of times when it comes down to women and their aspirations to be better as women, the thing that I have watched is I've watched many young ladies that have lowered themselves to fit the description of what they believe that man wants, and they don't evolve. But by you simply evolving as the woman that you have are desiring to be, what this does is that every time that a woman evolves, that's another detail that that man needs to pay attention to. A man that comes into your life and you're evolving should be able to start really noticing the small changes that you begin to make. So the woman, I'm going to give you an example. Woman comes in, starts dating this particular gentleman, and what she ends up doing is, okay, she's dating this particular gentleman, and let's just say she came into the relationship and she was a little bit overweight. Okay, he's
Mm-hmm.
he loves her the way she is. But when she starts evolving, she starts to say, okay, you know what? I know that he knows that I'm looking good, but for myself, I need to go ahead and get in this gym, get my life in a better healthy state, so that as I evolve in my mind, my body will then begin to start looking like what my mind has already started. For example, like she comes into his life, they start dating, and she was at a certain financial level, as far as, maybe she did, a little bit more shopping than she liked. Okay, I'm in this relationship. One day I'm going to want to be a wife. Let me go ahead and start learning how to save. Let me go ahead, if I don't know how to cook, let me go ahead and start cooking a little bit more. Or if I don't cook as much, let me go ahead and start cooking a little bit more, so that I can start getting myself prepared for when I become a spouse. Because a lot of people think that all of these great qualities are just going to come out of the sky when you say I do. But really, those qualities need to be in motion while you're in a relationship, so that when you get married, it's not as hard to pull it out. And so a woman simply evolving, if you're in a relationship and you have goals and aspirations to do something, go ahead and do it. Because everything that you do to um, increase your progression, it's only going to be better for that man. Or if that man is not stepping up and really realizing it, what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up leaving them behind. I tell any young lady that comes to me and she has a situation with a dude, well, what can I do to be better? Find out what it takes for you to evolve to be the best version of yourself. And if he really sees your value, he's going to begin to start noticing, hey, there's things I need to work on so that I can catch up, or that I can match up to this progression that this woman that's in my life is doing also. So continue to evolve. Continue to do the things that make you better as a woman, because there's no amount of words, there's no amount of things you can do for that man that are able to match up to you just evolving. Because when you evolve as a woman that you're desiring to be, what it's going to do is it's going to hold that man accountable for saying, can I handle the woman that she's becoming? Or am I just satisfied with her at a lower tier, and I can just live my life any old type of way? So,
I think that is good. Good, good. It helped me. Lord, I got to start cooking more. Jesus. I don't cook like that. I get people talk about me on two people in particular talk about me and be like, Lord, we gotta help her because me, I can survive though,
mhm,
but so yeah, I think that we do have to start now. We have
mhm.
to start now because like you said, it's not gonna fall out the sky once you say I do, it is not. And so we have to start now. And I have told people that if we want somebody up here, we're gonna have to at least be working to get up there as well. If our finances not in order, our health, our mental state, but we want somebody else finances in order, that's not that's not gonna work. And let's see. Everyone, thank you so much for coming in. This is Jericho J. Red Brumfield. I am here with Coach Bryan Thomas, and we are talking about relationships. We're supposed to be talking about all, but I think we just getting stuck on the romantic relationship at this moment,
Right.
because I think this is the relationships with our parents and friends are vital as well.
Hmm.
All relationships are necessary and it must be talked about, honestly.
Right.
It must be talked about. And I think that we can be on here forever and ever and ever because it's so big and because we can spend days on, the relationship with your parents, days on friendship. Now, that's a big one that needs to be talked about too, because some people can't keep friends.
No.
You walk out of lives just for one simple little thing or don't keep communication and this and that. So that's big as well. And
Right.
if you have a few moments to talk about friendships with men and men, women, or men and this is a good one. Can men and women be friends? You may have heard that a lot. Best friends.
They can.
I,
They
they
they actually
can. Okay.
they actually can. Um, I have some very good female friends. Some of them keep me, some of them kind of keep me in line, because I think having a good quality female relationship for a man is very, very key, because what it does is that it keeps him aware, paying attention to things he might be insensitive about. So there's many things that I learned from the relationships, friendships that I have with, the young ladies that I consider to be close friends. I have a close friend of mine. I've actually two really good friends that I've known. One I've known for like 21 years, who's known me, longer than anybody other than my sisters. And then I have another friend of mine that I met in college, that's known me for about, 16, 17 years. Um, and, we talk um, about just different things, like how we've evolved over the years. So I think men and women, they can be friends, but it's understanding that sometimes, even with the friendships that, when they are, good friends, they understand that, you're going to evolve and eventually get into a relationship with another young lady, and, you start evolving in that particular light, but you still, keep that friendship, obviously with a known boundary. um but I think it is good to, ladies, is for you to have, a good quality male friend that you can trust. And men, I think it's good that you have a good quality young lady that you can trust, have conversation with, and keep obviously a hard boundary line. But also, I believe that having, men having, men to men friendships, one, that keep you refined, and women having, women to women friendships that, keep you refined, and keep you pushing positive, in a direction that is better suited for where you both are going. I have some of my, um, some of my guy friends or whatever. We have a group text, stuff we laugh about, and just recently, Big Brother sent a text message in, about us being accountable for going into 2022. And so I think having a good quality, friendship of, the same, group, allows you to be able
Yeah.
to kind of stay ahead. Those guys keep me inspired. They really do. One of them is, he's got his wife, and he's got his children, and he's doing things in, business that I admire. Another friend, the one the same in the group message, is a football coach, actually a head football coach at a high school out in Georgia. And we talk just about different things, and it just kind of helps keep us refined. And so,
Mm-hmm.
ladies, get you some, other young ladies that inspire you and that are not jealous of you. Get you some people that are not going to be jealous of you, that when you start doing better, they start feeling a certain type of way. No, get you some people that really know who you are. And as they see you progress, they're happy for you. If my one of my friends, good friends, if something good happened for them, I'm celebrating them, all day, every day. But at the end of the day, it is good to have a friendship of the opposite sex, because what it does is, and this is just me, somebody else might be a little different, but like when I was coming up,
Uh-huh.
I had friendships with older ladies. The older ladies
Uh-huh.
put me up on information that I needed to know when I was 29 and 30. I remember sitting down
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
conversations when I was 19, 20 with ladies that was in their 40s. And they told me how to move in. They told me how to move when I got a little older. One of the older ladies, I was like 19 at the time, and we was having a conversation. And one of the things she told me, she said, right now you're young, but what she told me, she said, when you get a little older, she said, start paying attention to women as you get a little older. And I was like, well, why? I'm like, I don't really see it, because I really, see what I see. She said, the older that a woman gets, the more her body language talks to you more than her mouth does. So you start paying attention to her
Mm.
body language, you start being able to really understand what you need to say and what you don't need to say. And also, one of the things that she told me about as the women start getting a little older is their patience level starts to dissipate. And so you only have a split
Mm.
second of being able to make a presentation before she start looking in a different direction. Because women, a lot of times, filter a lot of the things that they see through their emotions. And so you have to be able to be mature enough that when they have a conversation with you, those emotions can sit down somewhere and they actually want to listen to you.
Mm. Y'all, are y'all listening to the coach tonight? He got this information from some wise women, and he remembered how he coached. Come on. Y'all
It's
can't tell me what listening to the older generation
yeah, the older
will
generation
do.
will tell you. The
I'm
older
telling you,
generation will tell you some stuff. I mean, between my parents, because my parents told me like a lot of the things, like as far as how to handle certain conversations with women. But like I learned from
mm-hmm.
watching and talking to the older women. They put me up on game. That's why, now at the age that I am, why like even when I have conversations with a young lady, I'm able to kind of like listen. So one of the things that um women, when they're having a conversation with a man, especially when they're upset, you need to figure out what the main idea is. If she start, getting upset about all this other stuff, you need to find out what the main idea. Really, when a woman starts having a conversation with you, you need to get to the root of what she's talking about. You need to understand it, and you need to make sure you handle it. Because let me tell you where a lot of men mess up. A lot of men mess up and they start paying attention to her emotions and all the stuff she's doing. There's always a root behind what she's doing. Pay attention to the root. If you pay attention to the root, 10 times out of 10, you can figure out what's going on, and then you can understand how to quietly get things to kind of calm down. Now, a lot of times, if I'm having a conversation with a young lady, I'm going to be able to find out what the issue is by simply listening to a few of the context clues of the words that they say. So,
But not screaming back and hollering and like, you just gonna do what?
you gotta
What you said you was gonna do?
you gotta listen, and you gotta listen.
Mm.
You gotta listen for context clues, because usually when a woman is frustrated about something that's going on, usually in some way, shape, or form, she said it to you at least 2 or 3 times, but in different ways. So you got to be able to understand a translation of what she said the first 2 times, so that if she ends up getting to the third time, she ain't got to tell you and be like, hey, why am I upset? She said it 2 different ways, but you need to pay attention to it. But that's a whole nother class that I'll dive into in 2022.
All this is a whole nother class,
Right.
everything is another class. I think we need to uh what you lean in and look at the camera and tell you men to listen. Listen. Oh, listen. Okay, I'm done. We have somebody said chief elder. We ain't gonna get into all that game. Not tonight.
It's funny.
So the bishop that came on in and made his arrival. All right, Barbara said facts. I make myself very clear. You better get it. I know that's real, Barbara. She's married, so if you all have any questions, we're going to be wrapping up. So if you all have any questions, please type your questions. I'm pretty sure Mr. Bryan have the answers for you all. And
I'm just
he
Now, this is
learned
one thing.
from
Now, this is one thing I will say to. This is one thing I will say to the ladies, because I think a lot of. Now, I'm gonna say something, and whoever's listening and watching the playback, understand this. Okay, ladies, hear me very, very clearly. It is very, very simple to deal with today's modern day man. And the reason why it's very simple to deal with today's modern day man is you have to understand that you have to be a visionary too. You have to have a vision for your life also, meaning that when that man comes into your life, he's adding to it. What I see from a lot of the ladies is they have a vision up unto the wedding, and then the vision goes out of the door because they feel like, hey, as a wife, I'm going to be taken care of. No, make sure that that vision doesn't just die once you become a wife, but have a vision, and have the vision where that man can actually come in and help you. Because here's the thing, when we're looking at help me, it's often emphasized that the woman is a help me, but the man is also a help me. Many reasons why there's some women that are single right now is because I'm gonna say this lightly, some of the young ladies, they don't want help. They want a waiter. They want to marry their waiter. They want to marry a man that's going to take their order and get it to them in the fastest way possible. And that doesn't work in marriage. You're not marrying a waiter. You're marrying a person. And that person that you're marrying needs to be invested in. Marriage is not just an engagement, because a lot of ladies got on me about this engagement post that I put up recently. But what they have to understand is that it's not about the proposal. It's not about the wedding.
Mhm.
Marriage is a consistent investment firm. Consistent, which means that the person that's investing in you, he's going to be empty or she's going to be empty. And you better learn to pour into them. And here's the thing, you can't pour into them just compliments. You can't pour into them just gifts. You have to be able to pour into them from the substance of what brought them to you. What is your substance that attracted that person to stay with you? What is that substance? And are you going to give that to them? Because here's the thing, there are a lot of amazing women who crash and burn in relationships because the substance that brought that man in, they throw it away as soon as they get to a certain position. And the same things go with men. A lot of things that they were doing to have them stay gets thrown away. So the question that you want to ask yourself going into a relationship is, do I have the ability to maintain my substance so that the person I'm pouring into can continue to thrive because of me?
That's the question for all of us that is listening. Do I have substance, and can I maintain that throughout the time? And I think this is for self evaluation as well. This whole life is for evaluation. You know, some stuff that you was talking about, and you said um, that we could just write down. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have to pull up this question. Give me 1 second. Gotta come in and uh-oh. Okay, sorry about that. I pulled it up. So the question, I'm not sure if you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to see it?
Yeah, it says, I have a question. What's a man supposed to do when he's always showing support for his lady, but not the other way around? Also, how is a man supposed to deal with his lady with masculine energy when it comes to criticism? All right, so I'm gonna break this question down into what's a man supposed to do when he always shows support for his lady, but not the other way around? All right, so here's something to think about. Support is welcome, but it's one of those things that it's optional, meaning that that support that you're looking for from your lady, you have to understand that people, they do not have to support you. And though it is expected, we have to also know that in relationships, people are not going to meet your expectations. And so when you see that she's not showing that support, open up your mouth and say, hey, you know what? I'm not seeing that support. Be okay. I'm gonna say this right here. Be okay with holding people accountable for things that you desire for them to give to you. Be okay for holding them accountable for things that you desire for them to give to you, and they agree and say, I can give that to you. So if you are desiring support from her and she's okay, I'm going to give you that support, and she doesn't give you that support, say, hey, knock on the door, be like, hey, listen, I'm looking for your support. I'm not getting it. What's going on? What is it that you're not seeing? Is something that you see, is it not to your liking? Like, I need to know what that support is, because I think a lot of times in relationships, people have these invisible expectations, or they've placed their expectations on the table, and then when the other person doesn't meet them, it's like, well, you are not meeting those expectations. Well, have you put those out on the table? And if you put those out on the table and you've let it be known that this is what I expect from you, and they don't meet those expectations, you have to ask yourself, do they really understand what those expectations are? Or is it just not a part of is that just not a part of their DNA? And if it's not a part of their DNA, then you got a decision to make whether you want to deal with that or not. The second is also, how is a man supposed to deal with this lady with masculine energy when it comes to criticism? Well, when we're dealing with like and the masculine and feminine energy, I think to a certain extent, when it comes down to that, um, you okay, I'm gonna say this here. Many times when we feel that a woman is being critical towards us, the majority of the time, she's not being critical because she wants to take. Now, if she's being critical because she wants to tear you down, you'll know the difference. But a lot of times when a woman is having that firm conversation with you, What you need to do is, in that particular sequence, you need to take what she's saying and you need to ask yourself and say, is this something that I'm doing that I'm not aware of? Because the thing is that with tone, sometimes you can't really tell tone from your lens, because if you're frustrated, if you're in the moment, you can't really tell tone. But what you can do is ask yourself, what are the words that are coming out of their mouth and what is it that they're saying? So if a young lady that you are in a relationship with is coming at you from a what we consider to be a masculine tone, what you do in that particular situation is you sit, you listen to what she has to say. You take the criticism with a grain of salt, and whatever you don't agree with, as a man, you go to her and say, hey, listen, thank you for giving me the critique. These are things that you hit on that I agree with. The way that you said this, it bothered me. And what this will do, if she is truly a woman that really wants to be better and understand where you're coming from, guess what? Now you've put her back in a space to where she has to soften up. A lot of times when women come at you with that particular tone, it's because they are trying to really learn how to be firm. So maybe she has to learn how to give a critique from a soft place, and maybe she hasn't learned. And maybe you're the person that's going to come in and show her the way. Because I believe that relationships are about people being able to come in each other's lives and teach each other something. So if she's coming at you that particular way,
Right.
what is it that you can show her to better help her in the relationship? Or if it doesn't end up working out, guess what? For the next time, she knows, I don't need to come at him that particular way. I need to come at him a little bit softer. But it's all in the way that you convey the message that determines how she will handle it. Because here's the thing, and I learned this from my mother growing up. If a woman comes at you real, real tough, it's not because most likely she trying to tear you down. Most likely it's to wake you up and to pull up out of you that strength to go out here and do what it is you need to do. My mother was tough on me about stuff. Sometimes I'd be thinking, man, like my mama, I was like, sometimes my mama was tougher on me than my daddy. But what it did was, let me tell you what it did. What it did was it prepared me for those hard conversations that I got to have with people. Because some conversations are tough. Like, you know, if it's a gentleman that you're in a relationship with and he's not holding his financial weight, how do you have a conversation with him and say, hey, sweetheart, yo, you're not holding your weight with the money? Sometimes you got to be like, hey, listen,
You got to get it together.
these bills ain't going to pay themselves. You got to step up.
Right.
Now, it may seem a little masculine,
Right.
but
Yeah.
some stuff is just, got to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that answered that. Hopefully that answered the question.
Shell said communication is the key. I think that is good, and then understanding a way a person communicates.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just communication alone. We definitely have to understand the way a person communicates, especially if we have talked to that person for a while. By now, you know, you should know something about how that person communicates. Right. And get messages across.
Right.
And so thank you so much, Mr. Bryan, for coming in. If you have any last words, any type of encouragement, anything that could kind of course correct us, whatever you want to say. Also, if you would like to pray at the end, you may do so at this time.
Perfect. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show tonight. I had a wonderful time. Hopefully I was able to help some people out. For those that, you know, you may be in a single space, write down your goals for what you want to do going into the next year and really focus on it. And then you will collide with the right person, with the right people, with the right information to put you in the best position to win, so that all your relationships moving forward will be meaningful, whether they work out for you to progress forward with them, or they end up ending at a certain point in time where you can take it as a stepping stone of learning. Just know that putting your goals down and beginning to strive for things that you know that you have been destined and designated to do is going to better help you when the right person comes. And so right now we're going to pray, and then I'm going to, for those that would like to, maybe sit down with me and have a conversation concerning the relationship or the life space or the dating space. I'm going to have my information available for you after we pray. So, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this moment in time where we were able to capture just a wonderful experience of the things that you have allowed me to learn and allowed me to convey to the ears of those that will open and to those that will listen to the replay. I ask that, Lord, those words would multiply in their lives so that they will begin to see the increase in all areas of their life. And for those that have been hurt, for those that have been bruised by previous relationships and misunderstandings and things that they may not have gotten at the time, I ask that you would make those things clear. Lord, I ask that you would heal the heart of the man, heal the heart of the woman, heal the heart of those who have had their heart broken simply by not having the information available. And for those that may feel as though they are left behind and they may be single, Lord, begin to let them know that anything is possible as long as they grow and as long as they evolve into the best version of who you created them to be from the foundation of the earth until now. You have designated for their ears to be open to hear not only my words, but the words of others throughout their past, throughout even the present time and even the future, that they will be able to hear, that they will be able to grasp everything that you have for them. And Lord, as we step into New Year, I ask that you would just continue to be um, one that is the head of everyone's life that's listening, that's watching, that will see the replay. And we just honor you and thank you for what it is that you're doing. And we ask that you would bless everyone on this wonderful night as they move forward towards their destiny. It's in the precious and holy name of Jesus that we pray. Amen and amen. Definitely for those that had an opportunity to see the broadcast tonight, you can reach out to me directly on facebook.com under Bryan Thomas. That's just my first and last name. Or you can catch me on Instagram at Coach BT 316. I am starting to get content prepared for 2022 because I'm going to really dive into a lot of the things that we talked about tonight. I'm going to really dive into it even more. But if you're looking to, sit down, have a consultation, and even begin a relationship prep program, which I actually just wrote that I'm going to introduce in 2022, or if you just have general questions, or if you're in the dating space and you need to navigate, reach out to me. We'll sit down, have a consultation, and see if we can get the results going in the right direction. So again, thank everybody for tuning in. Thank this lovely host for bringing me on and introducing me to her platform. I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity, and hopefully I can offer value to this platform in the future.
Yes, sir. This is very, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you once again for coming in with us on tonight. All right, everyone. This was good. If you all just joined it in, go back, just watch the replay, skip through however you have to do. Also, if you would like to be any type of blessing to All Things Web Show, you could cash out, PayPal. Right here is right here. We are growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And tune in on Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to have more awesome guests and more awesome conversations. And so make sure y'all tune in with us. All right, everyone. Y'all have a great, great, great night.